Have you ever wondered if some of the healthiest vegetables on your plate could be putting your heart and your life at risk? If you're over 65 and taking blood thinners or managing heart health, this might be the most important video you watch this year. Spinach, that beloved green powerhouse, might seem like a perfect choice. But did you know it contains vitamin K, which can directly interfere with common blood thinners like warfarin or aspirin? Without careful balance, something as simple as a daily spinach smoothie could silently sabotage your medication and raise your risk of stroke or clotting, just like it did for one of my patients, Mrs. Clara Johnson. And spinach is just the beginning. What about the crunchy pickles you enjoy, loaded with hidden sodium that could be pushing your blood pressure dangerously high? Or the spicy chili peppers that might be overstimulating your heart without you even realizing it? Even trusted staples like raw garlic and fresh sprouts can turn risky after 65, especially when combined with medications or a weakened immune system. By watching this video, you'll discover the hidden dangers lurking in everyday vegetables and learn how to protect your heart without giving up flavor or nutrition. I'll share real stories from seniors just like you, proven strategies to eat smart, and the key steps to avoid silent threats that could lead to life-threatening events. Don't let good intentions unknowingly harm your heart. Stay tuned till the end. Your health depends on it. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1. Spinach. When heart medicine becomes powerless. If you're over 65 and rely on blood thinners for your heart, whether it's warfarin, aspirin, or another medication, what I'm about to share could be the difference between staying safe and facing a life-threatening crisis. For years, spinach has been hailed as a miracle green, a superfood packed with vitamins and antioxidants that everyone should eat to stay healthy. But here's a truth many seniors don't realize. After 65, your body changes. It no longer processes food the same way it did in your younger years. What once protected your heart and health can quietly work against you, especially when it interacts with delicate medications designed to save your life. Spinach is packed with vitamin K, a nutrient that plays a crucial role in how your blood clots. That sounds like a good thing, right? Especially if you've been told you're low on vitamins or need to eat more greens. But here's the hard reality. If you're on anticoagulants like warfarin, also known as Coumadin, vitamin K can undo the life-saving effects of your medication. Warfarin works by gently thinning your blood to prevent dangerous clots that can trigger strokes, heart attacks, or sudden death. But when your intake of vitamin K becomes too high or wildly inconsistent, your blood thickens up again. Suddenly, your medication loses its power, and the protective barrier it's supposed to provide slips away. What breaks my heart is how many seniors have no clue this is happening inside their bodies. I remember Mrs. Clara Johnson, a 68-year-old retired librarian from Ohio, as if it were yesterday. She came to my clinic after experiencing what doctors call a silent TIA, a mini-stroke that sneaks up without warning. Clara was careful. She walked every day, avoided fried foods, didn't drink alcohol, and believed she was doing all the right things for her heart. Every morning, she blended a green smoothie filled with a heaping cup of raw spinach, convinced she was nourishing her heart. But when I reviewed her blood work, her INR levels, a critical measure of how long it takes her blood to clot, were alarmingly low. That meant her blood had thickened dangerously, increasing her risk for deadly clots. She was stunned. No one had ever warned her that too much spinach could sabotage her medication. The cruelest part? Clara showed no symptoms before the TIA, no headaches, no dizziness, nothing to suggest danger lurked within. Just that innocent green smoothie she enjoyed every day quietly stripped away her medicine's ability to protect her heart. This isn't about blaming spinach or telling you to avoid it entirely. It's about understanding the delicate balance your body needs and the crucial importance of consistency and communication. If you eat spinach occasionally, your body can handle it. But suddenly adding large amounts or stopping it without telling your doctor can put you at serious risk. So please, if you're taking blood thinners and love your greens, talk openly with your doctor about your diet. Eat spinach and other vitamin K-rich foods in moderation and keep your intake steady. Don't panic or feel deprived. Just plan your meals thoughtfully and have your INR checked regularly. Because even the healthiest foods can turn dangerous if they throw off the balance between your body and your medication. And sadly, I've seen too many seniors discover this truth only when it's nearly too late. Now, if something as wholesome and celebrated as spinach can quietly sabotage life-saving medication, imagine the impact of certain vegetables that don't just interfere but actively burden your heart with hidden dangers. What if I told you that the next vegetable I'll reveal is crunchy, tangy, and sitting right in your fridge right now, yet packs more sodium than a bag of chips? Stay with me, because what comes next might surprise, and even shock, you. 2. Pickled cucumbers. The salty trap that's tightening around your heart. Pickles. Just the word can bring a smile, a familiar crunch, a tangy burst of flavor, a refreshing bite that takes many older Americans right back to cherished memories. A deli sandwich piled high on a Sunday afternoon, a family gathering where pickles sat quietly on the side, seemingly harmless, almost comforting. They seem innocent enough, don't they? After all, pickles start as cucumbers, a simple vegetable, something healthy and natural, right? But here's the painful truth that so many seniors don't realize. Those few innocent-looking slices on your plate might be quietly, relentlessly pushing your blood pressure higher every single day, placing an invisible yet heavy burden on your heart, one that it can no longer carry without struggle. I'll never forget Mrs. Dorothy Miller, a kind-hearted, warm 74-year-old widow who came to see me, frustrated and worried about her stubbornly high blood pressure. Dorothy had tried everything. She'd stopped eating fried foods, walked daily, even taken up meditation to calm her mind and body. Yet, no matter what she did, her numbers refused to budge. "It just doesn't make sense, Doc," she said, her voice tinged with both confusion and exhaustion. "I've given up chips, bacon, and all the usual culprits. I'm doing everything right, so why won't my blood pressure go down?" It wasn't until I carefully reviewed her food diary that I uncovered the culprit hiding in plain sight, a generous helping of pickles with her lunch every day. This is where many seniors are caught off guard. Pickled cucumbers are far from just cucumbers. They're soaked in a salty brine, a preservation method that packs an enormous amount of sodium into just a few slices. A typical serving can contain over 1,000 milligrams of sodium. That's more than 2/3 of the entire daily sodium limit recommended for older adults. And sodium, though it sounds so harmless and ordinary, is a direct enemy of your heart after 65, when your body's delicate balance shifts. Here's how it works. When you consume salty foods, your body holds onto water to balance out the excess sodium floating in your bloodstream. This extra fluid increases your blood volume, meaning your heart has to work overtime, pumping harder and harder to move blood through your vessels. Over months and years, this strain stiffens your arteries and raises the pressure inside your heart chambers. For many, this silent assault leads to chronic heart failure, a terrifying condition that creeps in without warning. The scariest part? Most people feel absolutely nothing until the damage is already done. Dorothy's story is a powerful example. Her daily pickle habit, combined with the natural decline in kidney function that comes with age, meant she couldn't flush out sodium as efficiently as she once did. Every day, her heart was laboring silently, struggling beneath the surface. She had no warning signs until one afternoon when she suddenly felt a tightness in her chest and found herself short of breath while walking to her mailbox. A moment that terrified her and led to an emergency hospital visit. The diagnosis: early-stage congestive heart failure. But this isn't just a pickle problem. It's a wake-up call about awareness. High-sodium foods lurk everywhere, in canned vegetables, store-bought soups, processed condiments. and they don't always taste overtly salty. What's more, as we age, our taste buds dull and shift. That sharp, salty punch we once recognized becomes muted, and we unwittingly consume more sodium than we realize. The heartbreaking irony. Many seniors are carefully cutting back on sugar, fats, and red meat, trying their best to eat healthily, yet they forget sodium, the quiet, sneaky killer that can undo all their good efforts. Here's the hopeful truth. You don't have to sacrifice flavor to protect your heart. Fresh herbs like rosemary, thyme, and basil bring a vibrant aroma and taste without raising your blood pressure. A splash of lemon juice or vinegar adds a delightful tang without the salt. Dorothy made that switch. She swapped her beloved pickles for sliced cucumbers tossed with apple cider vinegar and fragrant herbs. It wasn't an easy change, but over time her blood pressure stabilized. She told me she feels lighter, more energized, and in control of her health than she has in years. That sense of empowerment, it's priceless. After 65, your heart is still strong, but it's no longer invincible. The foods you enjoyed freely in your 30s and 40s can quietly turn dangerous as your body changes. Salt is one of the most underestimated threats to aging hearts. But what if salt isn't the only silent danger? What if something far spicier, something we associate with culture, comfort, and joy, is lighting a slow fuse inside your chest? Stick with me. Next, I'll reveal what that hidden danger is. 3 red chili peppers, the fiery ingredient that's fueling your heart's downfall. Red chili peppers. For many of us Americans, especially those of us over 65, a touch of heat in our meals is more than just flavor. It's a journey back to cherished moments. Maybe it's the smoky aroma of backyard barbecues on warm summer evenings, the comforting spice of Grandma's gumbo simmering on the stove, or that beloved homemade chili recipe passed down through the family, a legacy of love and tradition. There's something alive and comforting about that fiery kick, something that stirs the senses and warms the soul. But what if I told you that this familiar, almost comforting heat could be quietly wounding your heart? If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Let me tell you about Mr. James Carter. He's a 69-year-old retired mechanic from Tennessee, a man whose hands once shaped engines and whose spirit was as steady as the Tennessee hills. When James walked into my clinic, he looked like someone who had weathered life's storms with quiet strength. Yet behind that calm exterior, he was struggling, chest palpitations rattling his peace, moments of dizziness shaking his confidence. When I asked him about his diet, he chuckled warmly and said, "Doc, I like it hot. Hot sauce on everything, cayenne in my eggs, jalapenos piled on my burgers. That's how I've always eaten." But James didn't realize what many seniors don't. The very heat he loved was putting his heart into overdrive, meal after meal. Here's the science that James, and maybe you need to hear. Red chili peppers contain capsaicin, the fiery compound responsible for that burning sensation. Sure, capsaicin has some perks. It can ease pain and help curb appetite. But it also triggers your sympathetic nervous system, the one that gears your body up for fight or flight. What happens then? Your adrenaline spikes, your heart races faster, your blood vessels tighten, and your blood pressure climbs. For a healthy 30-year-old, these surges might barely register. But for those of us over 65, this response can push a fragile heart and stiffening arteries dangerously close to the edge. James's heart was under silent siege, not from laziness or bad cholesterol, but from the constant daily stress of his spicy diet. We placed a heart monitor on him for 48 hours, and the results spoke volumes. Every time he ate something spicy, his heart rhythm danced into abnormal patterns, not yet fatal, but enough to wear down his heart over time. Capsaicin also fans the flames of chronic, low-level inflammation inside the blood vessels, a slow burn that damages their delicate lining. Imagine sandpaper grinding away, meal after meal, paving the way for plaque buildup, poor circulation, and eventually, heart disease. And the cruelest part? This damage isn't loud. It doesn't scream. It doesn't hurt in the beginning. That's why it's so dangerous. You can feel perfectly fine until one day you don't. So, we made some changes. James didn't have to give up flavor or joy in his meals, just the relentless fire. He embraced heart-loving herbs like garlic, cooked gently, rosemary, turmeric, and the bright zing of fresh lemon zest. Meals became a source of warmth, nourishment, and calm, not chaos for his heart. 6 weeks later, his palpitations had vanished, and his blood pressure settled into a healthy rhythm. He looked at me and said, with genuine surprise, "Doc, I never thought food could make me feel this peaceful inside." To everyone listening, here's my heartfelt message. You don't need to sacrifice deliciousness or joy at the table. But seasoning your food at 70 should be a gentle act of kindness to your body, different from the boldness of your 30s. Our hearts grow more delicate, our arteries less forgiving, and the spices that once ignited pleasure might now spark danger. If a sprinkle of chili can stealthily stress your heart, what about those so-called healing foods that, when raw or overused, thin your blood too much, turning nature's medicine into a hidden threat? That's a story for next time. 4. Raw garlic. When nature's medicine turns against your heart. Garlic has always held a special, almost sacred place in the hearts and homes of many older Americans. It's more than just a kitchen staple. It's a symbol of tradition, a natural remedy passed down through generations. From folk medicine to modern science, garlic has been celebrated as a true powerhouse, known for lowering cholesterol, easing high blood pressure, and gently thinning the blood. I've lost count of how many patients have proudly told me, "Doc, I don't need any pills. I take garlic every day." It's nature's miracle. And honestly, who can blame them? The belief in garlic's healing magic is comforting and deeply rooted in our culture. But here's the thing that often gets overlooked, and it's a truth that's both humbling and critical. Even nature's gifts have boundaries. When garlic, especially raw garlic, is combined with certain medications or taken without the right precautions, it can become less of a healer and more of a hidden threat, especially for hearts that have carried the weight of many years. Take Mrs. Margaret Evans, for example. She's a 72-year-old widow from South Carolina with a warm smile and a strong faith in home remedies. When she came to see me that chilly winter day, I could tell something was wrong. Margaret had experienced 2 unsettling episodes of lightheadedness and even fainted once while doing something as simple as cleaning her kitchen. Her blood pressure was unusually low, which didn't make sense with the medication she was taking: lisinopril for her hypertension and a low-dose aspirin to protect her heart. But when her blood work came back, we saw her INR was a bit too high, meaning her blood was thinner than it should be. That's when she told me something that made everything click. "I eat 2 raw garlic cloves every morning. I've been doing this for years. My mother swore by it." This moment drove home something I want everyone to understand deeply. Raw garlic contains allicin, a potent compound that acts as a natural blood thinner. While this might be beneficial for someone who isn't taking any blood-thinning medications, for those of us over 65 who are already on drugs like aspirin, warfarin, or apixaban, this natural thinning effect can dangerously stack up. The consequences? They're not just theoretical, they can be frightening. Increased risk of internal bleeding, nosebleeds, black or tarry stools, fatigue, and in the worst cases, life-threatening hemorrhagic strokes. Margaret's fainting was not a random scare, it was her body's desperate SOS. Her blood pressure was crashing because her blood was too thin, and her heart couldn't pump effectively enough to keep her steady. She didn't feel sick or in pain, so the danger was silent, lurking just beneath the surface. And that's the cruel trick aging plays on us. When we're younger, our bodies can buffer these effects better. But as the years add up, our liver slows down in processing compounds, our kidneys aren't as quick to clear waste, and our blood vessels grow more delicate. What once was a natural boost in your 40s or 50s can become a risky imbalance after 65. It's not a sign of failure or weakness. It's simply the wisdom of biology telling us to adapt and respect these changes. Now, don't get me wrong, garlic itself isn't the enemy here. What's dangerous is the lack of awareness and communication. If you love garlic like Margaret does, the safest way for your heart is to enjoy it cooked and in moderation. Cooking softens allicin's potency while still keeping many of garlic's wonderful antioxidant properties intact. Most importantly, never hesitate to tell your doctor about your garlic habits, especially if you're eating it raw. This isn't about giving up traditions, it's about honoring them in a way that fits the stage of life you're in. Margaret found this balance beautifully. After adjusting her garlic intake, roasting it with her veggies and stirring it into soups instead of eating it raw, her blood pressure stabilized, her fainting spells stopped, and she smiled, saying, "I didn't have to give up what I love. I just had to respect it." So many seniors trust garlic, and rightfully so. But the true key is understanding how it fits into your larger health picture, especially when medications are involved. And if something as simple, beloved, and trusted as garlic can quietly become a danger, what about a vegetable praised for its freshness and vitality? Could it be hiding dangerous bacteria? Threats that your aging heart and immune system might no longer be strong enough to fight? That's a story for next time. 5. Raw sprouts. The innocent crunch that could break a senior's heart. At first glance, raw sprouts appear to be the very embodiment of freshness and vitality. Their delicate, green tendrils, whether alfalfa, mung bean, radish, or clover, seem to whisper promises of purity and health. You see them everywhere, sprinkled delicately over salads at the trendiest cafes, tucked neatly inside veggie wraps, or proudly showcased in grocery store produce aisles with glowing labels like superfood or gut-friendly. For many seniors who have spent decades trying to eat right, adding a handful of raw sprouts to a meal feels like a wise choice, a small but meaningful step toward protecting their heart and body. But what if this crisp, innocent garnish isn't as harmless as it looks? What if, beneath that vibrant crunch, lurks an invisible danger, bacteria that your aging immune system is no longer strong enough to fight? Bacteria that could sneak into your bloodstream and attack the very heart you're trying so hard to care for? Let me share with you the story of George Wilson, a proud 70-year-old retired firefighter from Wisconsin. George is a man who's always valued strength and resilience. After surviving a serious bypass surgery 5 years ago, he became deeply committed to living healthier, cutting out red meat and sugar, drinking plenty of water, and faithfully eating fresh salads every single day. He thought he was doing everything right. But one quiet afternoon, everything changed. George was rushed to the emergency room with a high fever, confusion, and a heart pounding far too fast. It wasn't a stroke or a heart attack as one might expect. It was infective endocarditis, a dangerous infection inflaming the inner lining of his heart. And the unexpected culprit? Contaminated raw alfalfa sprouts he had eaten just days before. You see, sprouts grow in warm, damp conditions, the exact environment where harmful bacteria like E. coli, Salmonella, and Listeria thrive. A younger, healthier immune system might shrug off these invaders, perhaps only suffering a brief stomach ache. But for seniors, the story is far more serious. After age 65, our immune defenses naturally weaken, our bodies respond more slowly, and our healing takes longer. What begins as a mild discomfort can spiral rapidly into severe infections, sepsis, dehydration, or life-threatening heart complications, especially if you've got heart valve issues, pacemakers, or a history of heart disease. George had no clue that something as small and seemingly healthy as sprouts could lead to such a crisis. His treatment was grueling, a month of 4 antibiotics, several days in a cardiac care unit, and a long road to recovery. He told me later, with a mix of frustration and disbelief, "I thought I was doing everything right, Doc. I never imagined that eating sprouts could land me here." Sadly, George's experience is not unique. Every year, outbreaks linked to contaminated sprouts ripple across the country, yet these foods continue to be sold raw, without clear warnings, leaving seniors, our most vulnerable, at risk. So here's the truth every older adult must hear. Raw doesn't always mean safe, fresh doesn't always mean healthy. If you love the taste or texture of sprouts, you don't have to give them up entirely. But please, cook them first. Lightly steam, sauté, or toss them into a hot stir-fry at the last moment. This simple step can destroy harmful bacteria while preserving their crunch and nutrients. It's a small, manageable adjustment that could protect your heart and your life. Our generation grew up trusting nature, believing that food from the earth couldn't harm us. But times have changed, and so have our bodies. Your heart today needs more than good intentions. It needs vigilant protection. And that protection starts with knowledge. Knowing where hidden dangers hide, even in something as seemingly innocent as a handful of raw sprouts. Because if something so small can open the door to a life-threatening infection, what about other vegetables that seem harmless but turn dangerous when combined with common heart medications sitting in your cabinet right now? That's a story we must uncover next. 6. When healthy vegetables turn harmful, the hidden danger of food and medication interactions. For most of us, growing up, we've been taught a simple truth. If it's fresh, green, and comes straight from the earth, it must be good for us. We see those vibrant vegetables on our plates and feel assured that we're making the healthiest choices. And truly, for the majority of our lives, that's a comforting and mostly accurate belief. But here's the heartbreaking reality many don't fully understand. Especially as we cross the threshold into our senior years, beyond 65, our bodies don't respond the same way anymore. They become far more sensitive and delicate, not only to what we put into them, but also to how those foods interact with the medications we rely on to keep our hearts beating and our lives going. It's a complicated, delicate dance between food and medicine, and when that balance is disrupted, even the healthiest vegetables can quietly turn into hidden enemies. Let me share a story that touched me deeply. Mrs. Barbara Thompson is a 70-year-old retired schoolteacher from Virginia, a woman with a gentle spirit and a will to live well despite the challenges of atrial fibrillation and mild heart failure. She was conscientious, active, disciplined, and faithful to her medication regimen, which included beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, and a low-dose blood thinner. She was proud of her diet filled with fresh fruits and vegetables, believing she was nourishing her body and giving herself the best chance at good health. But one ordinary afternoon, Barbara walked into my clinic looking pale, weak, and disoriented. Her heart was beating irregularly, and her blood pressure had dropped dangerously low. The fear in her eyes was something I will never forget. She felt like she was slipping away. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. After careful tests and a deep dive into her daily habits, the cause became clear. Barbara had recently added large amounts of grapefruit juice, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts to her meals, thinking these were superfoods that would boost her nutrition. But unbeknownst to her, these vegetables and especially grapefruit were sabotaging her medications. They interfered with the liver enzymes, specifically the CYP450 group, that control how her heart medications were absorbed and broken down. Instead of the drugs flowing smoothly through her system as designed, they piled up in her bloodstream, causing too much of an effect. Her heart rate dropped too low, blood pressure plummeted, and she felt dizzy and faint, a terrifying experience that could have had severe consequences. This isn't just Barbara's story, it's a cautionary tale for countless seniors. Many common vegetables, particularly those rich in vitamin K like kale, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and spinach, can blunt the effectiveness of blood thinners, putting people at risk. Meanwhile, vegetables high in potassium, such as tomatoes, potatoes, and squash, can dangerously raise potassium levels if combined with certain heart medications, threatening the heart's rhythm and function. And it's not just the type of food, it's how much and how often you eat it. A modest portion now and then is usually harmless, but consistently eating large servings without medical guidance can create a ticking time bomb. What I find most poignant is that Barbara did nothing wrong. She simply trusted the advice that more vegetables meant better health, a lesson drilled into all of us from childhood. But no one had warned her, and many others, that what's healthy for one person can be dangerous for another, especially when medications are involved. After working closely with her care team to adjust her diet and space out her vegetable intake, Barbara's symptoms faded, and she regained her strength. But the experience left a lasting impression on her, and me, reminding us both how fragile the balance of health can be. If you're over 65, this is a critical message. Your meals and your medications must work together, not against each other. Never hesitate to ask your doctor or pharmacist about potential food and drug interactions, not just with packaged products but with everyday vegetables and drinks. Because even the purest, most wholesome food, if misunderstood, can quietly undermine your healing and safety. And if food can interfere this deeply with your medications, what about those vegetables that don't directly clash with drugs but still overwhelm your digestion and make your heart work overtime just to keep up? That's a story we need to explore next, because understanding what you eat is just as vital as the medicine you take. 7. Raw cabbage, the healthy vegetable that's quietly pressuring your heart and lungs. Raw cabbage is often celebrated as a staple in many senior diets, and on the surface, it seems like an obvious choice. It's light, crisp, and refreshingly crunchy, with so few calories that it feels almost guiltless to toss a generous handful into a salad or coleslaw. For many, cabbage carries the wholesome image of clean eating, an effortless way to swap out heavier, greasier sides and embrace a sense of health consciousness that's become a hallmark of American wellness culture. But what we don't often realize is that for our aging bodies, especially for those of us dealing with heart or lung challenges, this innocent-looking vegetable may not be the friend we've always believed it to be. It might be quietly working against us, pressing inward in ways that can make a serious difference to how we feel day to day. I still remember meeting Mr. Robert Hayes, a 71-year-old retired truck driver from Kentucky, during one of my routine cardiac checkups. Robert was a man proud of the strides he'd made to take better care of himself. He'd shed some weight, committed to eating more vegetables, and was steering clear of the junk food that had once been a staple of his long-haul days. What struck him, and made him proud, was his daily ritual of making fresh cabbage salads, eaten raw with just a splash of vinegar and olive oil. To him, it was a badge of honor, proof he was doing something right. Yet, beneath that pride was a quiet struggle he hadn't fully understood. He told me about the bloating that came after meals, a tightness in his chest that wasn't there before, and a troubling shortness of breath whenever he lay down to rest. At first, like many of us might, he brushed it off as indigestion or simply the toll of aging. But as I listened and examined him, it became painfully clear. These symptoms were more than just minor annoyances. They were signs of deeper cardiopulmonary strain. The bloating Robert experienced wasn't merely uncomfortable, it was pushing upward, pressing against his diaphragm and crowding the space his lungs needed to expand. This internal pressure made it harder for his heart to do its vital work, to fill and pump efficiently with each beat. Raw cabbage, along with its cruciferous cousins like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cauliflower, contains fibers and fermentable carbohydrates called FODMAPs. In younger digestive systems, these can be tolerated fairly well, but in older adults, whose digestion naturally slows, these fibers ferment, causing gas and abdominal swelling. While such symptoms might have been shrugged off as a simple nuisance in younger years, after 65, they transform into something more serious, physically restricting breathing and taxing an already vulnerable heart. When the abdomen swells with gas or bloating, it invades the thoracic cavity, the precious space where our lungs and heart operate in harmony. For someone like Robert, who was already managing mild diastolic dysfunction, a condition where the heart struggles to relax between beats, this pressure was not just discomfort, it was a barrier, a silent enemy blocking proper heart function and threatening his well-being. We didn't ask Robert to give up cabbage altogether. Instead, we adjusted how he prepared it, switching from raw to cooked. By gently sautéing or steaming his cabbage, the tough fibers broke down, and fermentation was drastically reduced. The difference was astonishing. Almost immediately, Robert felt relief, less bloating, easier breathing, and a newfound comfort after his meals. "I never imagined that food could reach my heart like that," he told me with a mix of surprise and gratitude. "But now, after lunch, I feel like I can breathe again." Stories like Robert's don't come from flashy advertisements or the promises on food packaging. They come from truly listening to our bodies and honoring how our needs evolve with age. Our digestion slows, our diaphragms shift, and our hearts may already be carrying burdens we can't see. So, it's not about stopping healthy eating, it's about eating smarter, with compassion and respect for what our bodies require right now, not what they tolerated decades ago. And if a simple, crunchy raw salad can press against your heart and steal your breath, imagine what happens when you reach for a canned vegetable, packed with preservatives and hidden salt. Convenient, yes, but quietly tightening the pressure on your arteries in ways you might never suspect. That's a conversation we need to have soon. 8. Canned vegetables. The healthy food sneaking salt into your heart. When we think of canned vegetables, what usually comes to mind is convenience and practicality. Those humble cans of green beans, sweet corn, or peas sitting quietly in the pantry seem like harmless, even wise choices, especially for seniors who live alone, or those on a limited budget trying to make every meal count. After all, vegetables are vegetables, right? They're not fast food, they're not processed meats or sugary snacks. So, how bad could they be? The truth is far more complicated, and often heartbreaking, especially for those of us over 65, managing blood pressure, and desperately trying to shield our hearts from further harm. Let me share a story that stays with me. Mr. Henry Davis, an 80-year-old widower living in a small town in rural Alabama. Henry was fiercely independent, cooking his meals and conscientiously making what he believed were heart-healthy choices. 3 years after surviving a mild stroke, he was determined to avoid another, following advice and taking his medications faithfully. When I asked him about his diet, he smiled with a mix of pride and practicality. "I don't eat junk food. Every day, I open a can of green beans or carrots. Easy, quick, and better than nothing." But Henry's stubbornly high blood pressure told a different story, one of hidden risks lurking beneath good intentions. We adjusted medications, tweaked dosages, and even examined his fluid intake, but nothing seemed to move the needle. That's when I asked him to bring in his grocery haul. Reading the labels was an eye-opener. One single can of what Henry called healthy green beans contained over 500 milligrams of sodium per serving, and Henry was eating the entire can at once. The sneaky truth about canned vegetables is that they're often packed in salty brine or salted water to extend their shelf life. That extra sodium doesn't always taste overwhelmingly salty, so it slips past our taste buds unnoticed, but it quietly piles up inside our bodies. For seniors, the sodium limit is lower than most realize, around 1,500 milligrams per day. Just 2 servings of canned veggies can easily push you beyond that limit, even before counting the salt hidden in breads, soups, or sauces. And here's the cruel twist. As we age, our kidneys lose some of their filtering power, our blood vessels lose elasticity, and the heart has to work harder to pump blood through arteries that aren't as flexible as they once were. Sodium acts like a sponge inside our bloodstream. It holds onto water, increases blood volume, and drives blood pressure up, placing enormous strain on an aging heart. The scariest part? This damage sneaks up silently. No alarms, no obvious symptoms until swelling appears in the ankles, or headaches become frequent, or worse, until the heart begins to fail. For Henry, the breakthrough came when he switched to low-sodium or no-salt-added canned vegetables. He started rinsing his canned veggies under water, washing away the hidden salt, and adding fresh herbs and lemon juice to bring out flavor instead of relying on salt. In just 6 weeks, his blood pressure began to stabilize, and we could ease off some of his medications. I'll never forget the day he said to me with a sigh, "Doc, I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought vegetables were always good for me." That moment always strikes a chord with me. So many seniors I meet are trying so hard, following advice, making what they believe are healthy choices, only to be unknowingly misled by hidden ingredients. It's not about blame or guilt, It's about awareness and empowerment. Reading labels carefully, choosing fresh or frozen vegetables when possible, and if canned goods are a must, opting for no salt-added varieties and rinsing them thoroughly before eating can make all the difference. Because at this stage in life, every little choice on your plate matters more than ever. Sometimes, the harm comes not from what you taste, but from what hides beneath the surface, invisible and silent. And if salt can sneak so easily into a can of green beans, what about other vegetables that look perfectly healthy but, due to age, storage, or processing, lose their nutrients and become empty calories? Or worse, cause your blood sugar and blood pressure to spike unexpectedly. That's a hidden challenge we'll explore next. 9. Overdoing heart-healthy veggies. When too much of a good thing becomes a silent threat. From the earliest days of our childhood, we've been told time and again, eat your vegetables. That simple advice has echoed through our lives like a comforting refrain, something so basic and pure it feels almost sacred. Spinach, beets, kale, sweet potatoes. These vibrant, colorful foods have always symbolized health, vitality, and the promise of a longer, stronger life. We picture them as shields against illness, as nature's own medicine. But here's a reality that's rarely spoken aloud, especially for those of us past the age of 65. Even the most wholesome, heart-loving vegetables can quietly become harmful when eaten in excess. Our bodies change with time. They don't process nutrients or medications the same way anymore. What once fueled us can now overwhelm us. Take Mr. William Parker as an example. A gentle, soft-spoken man of 76, he retired from his lifelong passion of teaching music in North Carolina. William is the kind of person who believes deeply in the power of natural health. He embodies hope and dedication. After suffering a mild heart attack, he made a solemn promise to himself: no more junk food, no more shortcuts. Every day became a commitment to healing, walking in the fresh morning air, filling his plate to the brim with kale, beets, spinach, and sweet potatoes. "Doctor," he told me with a smile filled with pride, "I haven't touched a donut in 6 months. I'm eating nothing but the good stuff now." His determination was inspiring. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. But then, a few months down the line, William came back to my office, not with the glowing health I expected, but with troubling symptoms. Fatigue that clung to him like a heavy blanket, muscle weakness that made simple tasks harder, and moments of lightheadedness that worried him deeply. Blood tests revealed elevated potassium and blood pressure readings lower than they should have been. We took a closer look at his diet, and the pieces began to fit together. Spinach and kale, especially in their raw forms, are rich in vitamin K, a vital nutrient but one that can interfere dangerously with blood-thinning medications if not managed carefully. Beets and spinach are also high in oxalates, compounds that can strain the kidneys when consumed in large amounts, something many seniors need to be cautious about. Sweet potatoes and other root vegetables, while nourishing and full of fiber, are packed with potassium, a mineral that, in excess, can become risky, particularly for those on heart medications like ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics. William's well-intentioned efforts to heal had inadvertently overwhelmed his body with too much of what he thought was only good. This story is a lesson I wish more seniors knew. After 65, it's not just about eating more healthy food, it's about eating the right amounts, choosing the right combinations, and timing your meals thoughtfully. The superfoods we once celebrated can silently become stressors if not consumed wisely. We adjusted William's diet, reducing portion sizes, rotating his vegetables, and introducing gentler options like zucchini, green beans, and tender cooked carrots. Slowly but surely, his potassium levels balanced out, his energy returned, and his smile grew warmer. One day he said to me, "Turns out, even the good guys need limits, huh, Doc?" I couldn't agree more. Yes, they do. Because our bodies after 65 are like a beautifully crafted classic car. They still run smoothly and carry us through life, but they require care, precision, and balance, not overload. They need a steady, experienced hand on the wheel. So, if even the most heart-healthy vegetables can become a threat when overdone, what should we truly eat to nourish and protect our hearts after 65? What foods will love us back gently, consistently, and wisely? That, my friends, is the journey we'll take together next. 10. Instead, eat these vegetables that truly support your heart after 65. By the time you reach your 60s, your heart has already beaten over 2 billion times, faithfully, tirelessly, without ever asking for much in return. It has carried you through decades filled with laughter, tears, moments of triumph, and times of struggle. Yet now, in these golden years of your life, your heart gently calls for something new from you: wisdom. Not the kind of wisdom tossed around by fleeting health fads or the latest magazine headlines, but a deep, honest understanding of what your body truly needs as it changes. This wisdom begins with knowing which foods genuinely serve and nurture your heart, not just as a theory, but as a lived, daily practice that honors the remarkable organ that has given you so much. The truth, as I've seen time and again, is that after 65, everything shifts inside. Your metabolism slows, digestion becomes more delicate, and the way your body absorbs nutrients, and even medications, transforms in ways that can surprise you. Your arteries lose some of their youthful flexibility, and your kidneys slow down their filtering work. What might have worked perfectly when you were 40 could now be quietly working against you, wearing down your heart bit by bit without you even realizing it. But here's the beautiful part: food is not your enemy. Far from it. When chosen with care, food can become your most powerful ally, your daily medicine, your source of healing and hope. Let me share with you the story of Mrs. Lillian Brooks, an 80-year-old retired nurse from Alabama, whose journey touched my heart deeply. She came to me worried about her borderline high blood pressure and persistent fatigue. Yet, she wasn't on any major medications and was determined to keep it that way. "I've spent my life caring for others," she told me with a quiet strength. "Now it's time I care for myself." Together, we crafted a meal plan focused not on restriction but on nourishment. Vegetables chosen not only for their health benefits proven by research but also for their kindness to her aging system. Within 3 months, Lillian's energy blossomed anew, her blood pressure numbers steadied, and a serene confidence returned to her life. We began with the humble broccoli and green beans, vegetables so often overlooked but so rich in benefits. Steamed gently to retain their nutrients, they are naturally low in sodium, packed with fiber, and bursting with antioxidants that calm inflammation in your arteries. Green beans, especially, quietly work wonders, delivering potassium and magnesium that help regulate blood pressure without overwhelming your body like some other potassium-rich foods can. Carrots joined the plate next, sweet, familiar, and deeply comforting. Their vibrant orange color is a sign of beta-carotene, a nutrient that supports the health of your blood vessels. Their natural sweetness also helped Lillian curb cravings for salty, processed snacks that can sabotage heart health. Roasted or gently boiled, carrots became more than just diet food. They were a soothing, satisfying companion at every meal. We added zucchini, lightly sautéed in olive oil with fresh herbs. Mild and hydrating, zucchini is low in calories but rich in vitamin C and soluble fiber, key players in managing cholesterol levels. Its low oxalate content makes it especially gentle for seniors worried about kidney health, a thoughtful choice that nourishes without worry. Sweet potatoes made a moderate appearance, too. Their rich color signals antioxidants galore, including beta-carotene, along with natural fiber and complex carbs that stabilize blood sugar. When baked, never fried, they offer a slow-burning source of energy that avoids insulin spikes and spares the heart from unnecessary strain. And tomatoes, cooked to perfection, revealed their hidden treasure, lycopene. This potent antioxidant supports the delicate lining of your blood vessels, and when paired with a drizzle of olive oil, your body can absorb it better. Another gift from nature, working quietly to protect your heart. Finally, kale returned to the menu, but gently, lightly sautéed in small portions. Raw kale, while nutrient-dense, can interfere with certain medications, But when cooked just right, it becomes a powerhouse of vitamins A and C and fiber, helping to reduce oxidative stress and support arterial health. What unites all these vegetables is their harmony with your changing body. They are gentle on digestion, low in sodium, rich in fiber and antioxidants, and most importantly, they play nicely with medications and the new rhythms of your aging system. They don't overwhelm. They don't conflict. Instead, they nourish, heal, and sustain. Lillian still eats this way. Each time she visits, she tells me with a smile, "I feel light. I feel steady. It's like my body and I are working together again, not against each other." That's the heart of what I want for you. Because these vegetables don't just protect your heart, they bring life back to your plate. They restore trust between you and your body. And when you eat with awareness, intention, and care, every bite becomes an act of love. Love for yourself, for your future, and for the people who cherish you and want to see you thrive. Now that you know which vegetables to welcome into your kitchen and onto your plate, what else can you do beyond food to strengthen and protect the heart that has given you so much? Let's pause together for a final reflection. Final reflection. Your heart still has time, and so do you. If you've reached your 60s, 70s, or even 80s, you've lived a life filled with more experience, love, loss, and resilience than many could ever imagine. You've loved fiercely, faced hardship bravely, raised families, and given your all to your community. Through it all, your heart has never stopped beating, without complaint, without pause. It asked for nothing, yet gave you everything. Now it asks for something simple but profound: your attention. As a physician who has worked with older adults for decades, I've seen the same story unfold repeatedly. People who survived life's toughest battles, illness, grief, financial struggles, raising children alone, sometimes find themselves caught off guard by something as simple, yet as powerful, as the food they eat. Because after 65, food isn't just fuel. It becomes part of your treatment, part of your healing journey, part of your story. Let me be honest with you, there's no perfect diet, no magical one-size-fits-all answer. But what I've learned, not from textbooks but from the lives of my patients, is that small, consistent choices hold more power than grand, unsustainable efforts. You don't have to live like a monk or sacrifice every pleasure. Instead, start listening to your body. Learn to live in harmony with the new realities of aging. This is the part few talk about: how your body changes in subtle, invisible ways. The spinach that once fortified you at 40 may now clash with your blood thinners. The pickles that added zing to your sandwich might now push your blood pressure higher. Even beloved garlic can pose risks when combined with certain medications. But here's the hopeful truth: your body is still listening. It's still healing. It's still full of potential for change. One of the cruelest myths about aging is the lie that it's too late. I cannot count how many seniors have entered my office, weighed down by regret. I wish I had cared for myself sooner. Yet, when they begin to make better choices, more water, less salt, more mindfulness, less guesswork, they start to feel better. Blood pressure improves, energy returns, sleep deepens, and minds sharpen. It's never too late to protect your heart. Not at 65, not at 75, not even at 90. It begins with a shift in mindset. Stop viewing your diet as a punishment or limitation. Instead, see it as a daily act of love for the body that has carried you through all these years. It's not about perfection, but about participation. You don't need to overhaul everything overnight. Just start with one simple question at each meal. Is this feeding my heart or working against it? And if you don't know, that's okay. That's why we're here. Your doctors, your caregivers, your community. You're not alone. Your wisdom is your greatest strength. Unlike younger folks who often feel invincible, you have learned life's fragility firsthand. You've lost loved ones. You've felt the cost of ignoring your body's signals. You've grown to understand that health is a gift, not a given. So now, in this chapter of your life, you have the chance to choose differently. Not from fear, but from deep respect for your body, your time, and the life you still want to live. Thank you so much for spending this time with me and learning about the vegetables and wisdom that can truly support your heart after 65. I hope Lillian's story and these gentle, nourishing foods have inspired you to see your diet not as a limitation, but as a powerful way to care for yourself and honor your journey. Now, I want to hear from you. What is one important thing you've learned from this video that you feel ready to bring into your daily life? Maybe it's a new vegetable to try, a mindset shift about aging, or a simple question to ask yourself before each meal. Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your story might just inspire someone else on this journey. If you found this video helpful and encouraging, please take a moment to leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Together, we can build a community of strength, wisdom, and heart-centered living for all our golden years ahead. Thank you, and take good care of your heart. It truly deserves it.